How to prevent injuries while you're building your aesthetic physique. This is a video request. Somebody asked me, as I've been talking more about my philosophy towards training, how they're going to prevent injuries. Now, injuries are so prevalent, and a lot of people think that in order for you to build a good physique and just as you get into the gym and as you go along your fitness journey, that injuries are just a part of the journey. And that's not necessarily true. Yes, we can't control everything, but you should not be getting injured. An injury is a sign that you did something wrong. It's literally your body telling you, hey, you did something that you weren't supposed to do. So we do not want to get injured. Not only are injuries not good for the body, obviously, we're putting pain on the body, but they also set us back. So when you injure something like your low back or your shoulder, or you tear a bicep, or you hurt your Achilles and you can't train legs for 6 months, or you can never do shoulder presses again, or stuff like that, then you're not going to be able to build your physique to its fullest because you're handicapped in a certain department. So we really want to mitigate injuries as much as possible. Me personally, I've had little nicks. Like I've had like elbows be a little cranky, or I've had like a little bit of like shoulder like pain a little bit, but I've never been injured to where I couldn't train. So I've never gotten injured. I've just had some nagging soreness, I would say, or like some nagging irritation. Now I will say that when I was having the little bit of shoulder pain I used to have, it was when I was bench pressing. Even though I wasn't bench pressing heavy, that's when I was having the shoulder pain. The elbows, the little bit of elbow wasn't an injury, but like a little bit of like elbow soreness was usually when I was ramping up my volume or my intensity on exercises a little bit too fast without giving my connective tissue time to catch up. So the best ways or the best practices for us to go about for us to prevent injuries while we're building our aesthetic physique is to, number one, not be doing movements like bench press, like barbell squats, like deadlifts. We don't need those to build aesthetic physiques. Instead of bench press, do incline press machines. If you want to do dumbbell incline press, you could do that. Me personally, I like incline press machines, right? Instead of deadlifts, do a Smith machine stiff leg deadlift, or do a Smith machine Romanian deadlift, right? SLDL for a stiff leg deadlift, or RDL, right? Romanian deadlift. The difference between a stiff leg deadlift is that for the stiff leg deadlift, keeping your legs more stiff, right? But for the RDL, Romanian deadlift, you're bending your knees way more, right? So for the stiff leg deadlift, you're not bending your knees as much. You're keeping your legs stiff. But for the Romanian deadlift, you're bending your knees a little bit more, and the Romanian deadlift is going to target your glutes a little bit more. The stiff leg deadlift is going to target your lower back a little bit more. It's going to really target those hamstrings in the lower back. So I do stiff leg deadlifts, right? Instead of squats, we're going to do hack squats. We're going to do machine squats. Especially you're taller, you have longer femurs, your body is going to be more compatible with machines as opposed to barbell squats, right? So I don't barbell squat. I don't do barbell deadlifts. I don't do barbell bench press. I don't do those movements. Those movements, a lot of times they cause injuries. We start ego lifting. We want to beat our numbers. We start pushing weights. And a lot of people who have low back pain, who have shoulder impingements and injuries like that, they're usually getting injured on those free weight barbell movements. You don't need them to build an aesthetic physique. You don't need them to have a good physique. So I wouldn't even do them, right? The next thing that we're going to do is we're not going to lift heavy weights in general. We're going to lift moderate weights. This is something I got from Golden Era Bodybuilding. We don't lift heavy weights, guys. I don't lift heavy weights. None of my clients lift heavy weights. We lift moderate weights. Not only do moderate weights help you prevent injuries because you're not putting unnecessary stress on your connective tissue, your tendons, your ligaments, your joints, but they also help you connect with the muscle better, which is what I talk about, mind muscle connection. Our goal isn't to just lift the most absolute weight in terms of poundage from point A to point B. Our goal is to put maximum stress and maximum tension on the given muscle. So I'd rather have you shoulder press 80-pound dumbbells where you're actually focusing, and that's still pretty heavy, but you're actually focusing on your delts and you're actually using your shoulders to push, as opposed to pressing 110s and it's hella what's this called? It's like you're using like hella joint and like hella tendon. You're not really using your shoulders, right? There's a word for this. It's blanking in my head right now, but Basically, I'm saying I'd rather have you use the intended muscle for the given movement, as opposed to just pushing the most absolute weight, which is something I got from golden era bodybuilders like Frank Zane, like Serge Nubret. They use moderate weights. They didn't use heavy weights, right? They don't get injured, and it allows for them to be able to focus on using the actual muscle to be able to push the weight, as opposed to just looking to push the most absolute heaviest poundage from point A to point B. A lot of people, when they get injured, and I see a lot of these dudes who like preach this high intensity Mike Mincer style training, they get injured. And it shouldn't come to any surprise, because Mike Mincer and Dorian Yates is another high intensity dude. He was like the most injury riddled Olympian of all time. He tore like every muscle on his body. He tore his lats. He tore his biceps. He like tore his tricep. He was tearing all types of shit. And somehow people think that his training method of like super heavy weight, pushing 10 reps past failure, people think that's a smart way to train. Yet the person who's telling them to train is like the most injury riddled bodybuilder of all time who won Olympia. So no, that's not how we train. That's how you beat up your body. You don't have to beat up your body to be able to build a beautiful, healthy physique. So we're not training high intensity, go to the gym once a week and lift the heaviest weight possible. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're using movements that are conducive to an aesthetic physique. We're not doing barbell squats. We're not doing bench press. We're not doing barbell deadlifts. We're replacing those movements with safer movements, and we're not lifting super heavy weights, right? We're not doing that. Now, another way that you're going to prevent injuries is by making sure that you're actually recovering, right? A lot of people, they don't take their recovery seriously. So a lot of times people, they focus so much on the muscle, but they don't focus on the connective tissue. And the reason why the connective tissue is so important, your tendons, your ligaments, your joints, is because your connective tissue doesn't recover as fast as your muscles. So yes, you might be able to do a movement 3 to 4 times a week. Muscle wise, your muscles are recovering, but if your connective tissue isn't recovering, eventually you're going to run into some issues. So there's some supplements I like to take for connective tissue health, such as glutamine, such as what's that? Oh, collagen peptides. I have them right here. Collagen peptides, which aren't injectable peptides. These are very standard peptides that have been out for years, right? This isn't like some new age peptides. They're just called peptides, but they're collagen peptides. Is like a powder. I like to take. There's some other stuff I like to take. The collagen peptides has vitamin C, and it has glucemic acid, I believe, and it has a few other things that are really good for connective tissue health. There's another one. Oh, I like to take this joint support right here. I like to take this joint support right here. And I believe there's one more I take for connective tissue health, but I focus a lot on making sure that my connective tissue is recovering and not just my muscles. They both need to recover, right? And you want to make sure, I do preach high volume training. I do preach training as much as you can, right? And recovering as much as you can. But you want to make sure that you're gradually increasing your work capacity. Your work capacity just doesn't increase overnight. When I talk about my training, some people think that when they come to me for a program, I'm just going to give them my exact program, but I would never do that because I've built my work capacity up. So you want to make sure that if you're looking to add more weight, or if you're looking to do more volume, that you're slowly increasing over time, and you're not making these rapid jumps, I should say, from weight to weight or from volume to volume. And this kind of ties back into my previous point, is going to be because your connective tissue needs to catch up, right? That's actually one of the reasons why a lot of people, they see people on steroids tear stuff. And it's because, yes, their muscles have gotten bigger and stronger, but the connective tissue hasn't caught up to it. So yes, they're pushing load that their muscles can handle, but the connective tissue can't handle the load. So to sum this video up, this is going to be a very brief video, but the way that we're going to prevent injuries on our road to building an aesthetic physique is by not doing movements that have been shown for years to be probable for injuries. By not lifting heavy, we're going to lift moderate weights that we can control, and we're going to focus on mind-muscle connection, and we're going to focus on the muscle doing the work and not the joints and the ligaments and the tendons and our connective tissue doing the work. And then also, when we make our jumps, when we want to progress with overload, right? Because we can progress with overload in multiple ways. We can shorten rest periods. We could increase mind muscle connection. We could increase time under tension. We could do supersets. There's so many things that we can do. And obviously we could also add weight to movement, right? We could go from dumbbell pressing 70s to 75s, right? That's the most common way to progress for overload. But we want to make sure that we do that in a smart, strategic way so that our muscles and our connective tissue are both keeping up, as opposed to just our muscles and then our connective tissues aren't on the same page as our muscles and causing us to get injured. So that's how we're going to prevent injuries on our road to building an aesthetic physique. Again, injuries are not the goal. We do not want injuries, and we need to stop taking advice from people who are always injured. People love Mike Mincer and Dorian Yates. Those two gentlemen were always getting injured. They were always getting injured. I don't like lifting heavy weights. You don't need to lift heavy weights to build an aesthetic physique, right? So I want you guys to be smart. I want you guys to be strategic. Some of you guys have been asking about like my full philosophy about like fitness and health and training and stuff. I actually do have an ebook. So that ebook will be in the description. If you guys want a custom training program, a custom nutrition program, or you want to join my 24-week coaching program, you can check the work with me link. If you want to book a consultation with me, you can also check the work with me link. Follow me on Instagram at Randall Branch. This is a video request. This is how to prevent getting injured on your way to building an aesthetic physique, right? If you have any more video requests, DM me on Instagram at Randall Branch and we'll drop a video about it. Mindset, wellness, health, nutrition, fitness, self-development, finances, entrepreneurship, relationships, and dating, anything self-development wise. If you have a video request, DM me on Instagram. But if it's like a specific thing, like you want me to help you do a specific thing, like you having a relationship issue or you want me to build you a program or something, then click my work with me link, right, and get right. But if you have a video request, a common video request, then you can DM me on Instagram and we'll make a video about it. I love helping you guys out. This is Randall Branch Media, and I'll see you guys later for another video. Peace.